So hi, I'm Natasha Killip, I'm in Paintball Massacre, and you're listening to the Fillmcraziest Show.
Now it's the awkward decision of who goes next, right?
I'll do it. Hi, my name's Nicholas Vince, and I play Somerset in the, not the county, the character of Somerset in Paintball Massacre, and you are listening to the Fillmcraziest Show.
Nice.
Hi, my name's Chris Regan. I wrote the script for Paintball Massacre, and you're listening to the Fillmcraziest Show.
So you should be an actor.
It's only because I saw everyone else go first.
Great delivery.
Hey everyone, my name's Joe Hallett. I'm the producer of Paintball Massacre and also played the role of Aidan Jones in the film also, and you're watching the Fillmcraziest Show.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Since I have the writer on, I figured I'd start with what's the story behind all those Fast and Furious references?
The Fast and Furious. Oh, that's a good story. So originally, it wasn't Fast and Furious at first. It was Star Trek films, it was sort of how I sort of found the tone of the script, because I had this monologue that I'd written for something else, where this sort of stoner character talks about Star Trek 5. Because if you describe Star Trek 5 to anyone, it just sounds like a film that doesn't exist because it's so crazy.
Okay.
So we had this monologue about Star Trek 5, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. And I was kind of trying to figure out the characters, and I was like, oh, if I had like a stoner character, this would fit quite well. So I put that in, and then I worked in more Star Trek. It was also Star Trek movie references, and then I even worked it out so that it played into the friendship between Sarah's character and Jess's character, and they have like a Spock Kirk moment. So that was in there, and then we did a first read through we did, which was me and Joe and Brendan, and we just brought in some other just friends really to read through it. And basically, when it got to the Star Trek bits, everyone over 30 thought they were hilarious, and everyone under 30 had no idea what was going on.
Okay.
So we got to. So it's like, okay, we've got to pick something else. And then, so I was trying to work out from the ages of the characters what films they would be interested in, and how that would work. And I was like, well, there's Lord of the Rings, that would have been out when they were at school. And then I thought, well, there's too much stuff about Lord of the Rings, that wouldn't work. And then I saw Fast and Furious, and I'm a massive Fast and Furious fan, like genuinely. They're probably my favorite films. So I was like, that's it, that Fast and Furious, and it worked. And I started to write it in, and then I rewatched Too Fast, Too Furious for like the 20th time, and I was like, oh, this film's about friendship. This works really well. So it kind of went from there. But yeah, it makes me very happy, those bits. I'm not sure everyone gets it, but it just like it's not. I'm definitely not taking the piss. I genuinely love those films.
Okay.
Can someone remind me what Star Trek 5 is about?
It's the one where they find God. It's the one where they go to space to find God, and they find God, and then God says to Captain Kirk, well, no, Captain Kirk says to God, what does God want with a starship? Because he wants to get a ship, because it's not really God, spoiler. But it's just mad that they made a film where the crew of the Enterprise go and look for God in space.
No madder than having to go back in time to get a whale.
I mean, true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we had a Star Trek 4 reference in there as well. So.
I think I think there was 6 in total.
Yeah.
It was just it was surreal, because I was a bit worried about it as well, because I'm only 29, and I think I kind of got 3 of them out of 6 of them. So when the read through happened, and it seemed like the whole room was split from people laughing and people just going, I don't get it. But Fast and Furious, because it's such a franchise, it's still coming out now, but also was out back in the day. We'll be able to just get it. I think it's a good film and a good pick from Chris to get in there.
Yeah, when I sort of suggested that, everyone was kind of like, yeah, that works. So, yeah.
And no one's going to ask what Too Fast, Too Furious is about.
I am, because I've still not seen it.
Fair enough.
I haven't seen a Fast and Furious.
Oh, you should watch it. 3 is my favourite. I know I say in the film it's not, but like 3 is actually my favourite.
Tokyo Drift is good. personally, I'd start with Fast Five. I like it when it just went into the heist.
Yeah, I mean
part of it.
that's probably the serious like good one, like
Yeah.
the legit good one.
It really
But the
jumped the
other's good
shark.
for-
Jumped the shark in that one, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
the first four were all like, okay, racing, hot girls, you know. But then it's like, okay, let's
Oh,
get a
then the-
little Marvel with it.
Oh yeah, by 8 they're the Avengers. Yeah, it's great.
Exactly. Also, what was it like incorporating like this? I guess paintball is a sport. What was it like incorporating that into just one of these hunted kind of films?
It was well. I'd had a pretty horrifying paintball experience. I'd only been paintballing once, and it was awful. And so I just kind of took it from that because we went. It was after it was on a stag weekend. Everyone was hungover, and we kind of went to this place, and we got a lot. It was in the middle of nowhere, and I just remember we arrived really late. And I remember turning up, and it's in the film. We sort of turned up, and the rival team just looked like they were all sort of ex-army, like they'd taken it really seriously. They were already annoyed at us because we were late. And I just thought we were all sort of like theatre people and creative people and stuff. I was like, we're going to get murdered. It's awful. And there was something. I mean, yeah, and not all of it made into. I mean, in the film, I actually think the paintball outfit in the film was a bit more legitimate than one I went to, but. It was there was a lot to draw from that. So I could see immediately already in a situation where these characters who maybe aren't that used to it, apart from Joe's character, it's quite a vulnerable position to be in. That you suddenly people are shooting at you. You don't know how much it's going to hurt until you do it. Things like that. That it's sort of I can see that there was a lot of potential for it, and you've got. Like the one I did was in the middle of the woods, and there are loads of, you've got all these immediate sort of secluded little spots, and there are moments where you'll be on your own, or you'll be with one other person, and there's a lot of, there was also a lot of space in that, during a paintball game, there's a lot of time to chat, and or time when you're just waiting, and there's the tension there. So, so I mostly just drew off that one experience. Although there were a few times when Joe and Brendan had to tell me, like,
by the time the
my bad, I lost
Oh,
you.
God, you dropped off.
Can we start from about a minute ago?
Where did you get to?
Chris, you were saying something, and then which transitioned into Joe talking. So I guess from there.
Oh, bless.
So the last bit of Chris's thing, and then everything you said, Joe.
Okay.
Well, I think I was just saying that the paintball experience I had was very different, I think, from a more legitimate paintball thing that experience that people might have, which is what I sort of relied on Joe's experience for that.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing with paintball is it's internationally known. People in England obviously do it for their parties, their stag do's, and reunions. And in America, they've got big tournaments, big world championship paintball tournaments. So I think everyone can either know someone's done paintballing or they've done it themselves, and it's relatable. So it's, people can watch it. And one thing I wanted the film to be was people watch and go, I went paintballing. It was like that. The marshals are that arrogant and horrible. It's true. And that's what we try to get across. And Chris did it really well, right, in the Three Marshals. But yeah, the actual base we filmed in literally was ramshacked. It was awful. We had to build the base, and the actual fort, we built that over 3 days. Me and the other producers, even the executive producers, put some nails and some woods and stuff just to build it up, because it literally was an abandoned quarry. So we built a lot up to make it look more legit than it was. But yeah, most paintball places are a bit dodgy.
Okay. Yeah. Joe, are you that one guy that brings their own equipment to paintball?
Of course he is.
No.
You are.
It's a bit of a funny one, actually. I'm a stunt man and do a lot of action, and I've got a big bag of body armor. And it came to the day where I had to wear the armor for the first day, and I forgot it. So I rang up my dad. I was like, Dad, go into the garage. I gave him the instructions. Go to this area, pick up this green armor. It looks like a motorcycle armor. Bring it. It must be at the set. And he did a great job. He turned up. And what I didn't think about was it just fit me. but the killer, who's played by Ian Fergo, is a much bigger guy than me. He's much more muscular. So when Ian saw it, he was like, "You think I'm going to fit in that?" But he did. He did squeeze in it, and he got in there with a bit of help from some of the runners, but we got him in there.
Okay, so that's why he kind of looks a little awkward. Like he can barely move his arms, right?
Yeah, he wasn't moving a lot.
Okay, just moving enough to put a for sale sign through a guy. Okay. Now, I was curious, for the for sale sign, did he bring that from home, or like where would he find that in the middle of nowhere?
Okay, obviously we're a really low budget film, so we weren't going to reach out to companies and ask them to give us permission to use their logo, because we know that's going to probably mean money. So myself and Brendan were like, we need to make some brands up. And we literally went, I was meant to play the estate agent, so it was quite cool to have my name on the for sale sign, and Hallett Homes kind of works. So we made these designs up and got our graphic designer to make the for sale sign. We actually made that as a prop. And if you look carefully, when Mr. Nicholas Vince is behind the bar, if you look at the names of the beer, you will find there's Car Beer and a few other brands are our own. No one's picked out yet.
I didn't realise that.
I hadn't realised that at all. I just faced it the wrong way.
You were busy pulling the pints for us.
I was busy pulling the pints, yeah.
Okay, I love those Easter eggs though, and I hope it didn't come off as mocking me asking where he found it. In the middle
I say something. I needed to get the wood, and someone was staying in a house near me where I live, and they left the for sale sign. It was sold, and they left it outside the house for obviously the stage and pick up. So one night coming home, I thought, I'm going to get that. So I pulled up and shoved it in my car. So some of it was from a for sale sign originally.
Okay, cool. All right, nice. Now, Nicholas, did you have to have like a bartending license to play this role, or no?
No, but it was that lovely thing of having to channel, I think, the one bar job that I ever had, which was back in the 1990s. I was fun. I used to enjoy working behind a bar, and it was only a temporary thing, and I think I probably spent around about 6 or 7 weeks like that. And then I remember the lady whose hotel we were filming in sort of giving me tips and pointers and so on, and me being very worried about where I put the glasses, just to make sure I didn't destroy anybody's system. Because you've never been behind a bar, everything has to be in the place where it lives, and you need to keep it organized. So yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately, the joke is, of course, I don't drink alcohol, so it's a long time since I've been in a pub behind a bar.
Okay.
Yeah, Gemma was the one that you were fine with. It was her other half, Daryl. If you got on the wrong side of Daryl, then you got a couple dodgy looks.
I didn't even notice.
Because you were so good. You didn't mess up the system.
That's right then. There is just one thing. Listen, if you're ever playing a barman, there is just one thing you just have to be able to do, and that's it's the dish. It's the towel in the glass, doing the wiping, the cleaning of the glass. It's that motion. That everyone knows you're a professional barkeeper if you can just do that one thing. Everybody, and I don't know if it's still in the film. I can't remember. But I remember this. Like, oh yeah, I've got to do that because that means he's he's cleaning, he's polishing glasses, he's doing something.
Wiping the top. You're wiping the top a bit. I think you're wiping the spilt drink off the top at the beginning. I think. But
it's the thing is, you have to remember exactly where you are when somebody yells cut. You're like, okay, all right, well, we stopped, if we're doing this again, where was I on that line? And just trying to be as consistent and try to remember. So whenever you're working with props, you're just like, okay, which glass have I taken? Did I put it there? And it's like, you have to, I was trying anyway. Whether or not anybody noticed or it helped in the edit, I have no idea, but I remember thinking about it.
And the level of drink that you kept filling up the pints, it's very important. Ingenuity.
Yeah, that's always the hardest part, especially with the drinks.
Yeah.
Now going back to what you're talking about with the marshals, Joe, with Natasha, you have like a volatile relationship with the one marshal. what was that experience like?
Yeah. Yeah, certainly do. It was very realistic, to be honest with you, because Katie Brand is absolutely amazing, but I never actually got to like speak to her as a person before we filmed anything together. So my first experience with her was her being that character. So yeah, it was easy to respond off of, to be honest with you. Yeah, she did it amazingly. So yeah, she was amazing to act with. And then it turns out once we'd finished filming, she was a lovely person. So good acting.
Okay. Was any of that improvised, or was that in the script mostly?
No, I mean, it was, yeah, no, I think all of it was from the script. We might have chucked in the odd word or whatever, but as I'm sure you've noticed, my character likes to swear a lot. She likes to cuss about. So yeah, that was all pretty much in the script, but if I threw in an extra swear word, it wouldn't be too bad.
Okay. Yeah, no. Like recognizing the voice and not hearing swearing, it's weird.
She speaks normally. I mean, to be fair, I swear a lot myself, so it wasn't far from playing myself.
Okay, fair enough. And yeah, with like the paintball hurting, I've never gone paintballing, but did you actually ever get hit when you were just wearing like the sports bra?
No, thankfully. Thank you, Joe, for not letting that happen. No, we avoided it. And there's even a bit, I mean, you have to look close, but when we're running, right before we see everyone dead in the fort, we're running behind the barrels, and I have a little yellow mark on my bum because that's the colour of paint that the killer had, whereas we were all using, was it orange or something? So, but we would just squirt it on our overalls before, so we never actually got hit, thank God. I could not handle it.
Okay.
Yeah, literally, we did no at all paintball during principal photography. It was all in the pickups, which was painful. We were doing, in the montage, most of those shots were done by point blank with about a couple of meters in front of us just to get the shot right. The only time someone got hit by a paintball was when the killer is shooting Matt Wilson in the hole. Not to spoil it for too many people, but you see that's definitely not that is serious pain that Matt felt or Ryan felt. And Ian said to me, or said something, I owe him for this, and it's payback. I don't know what Ryan did to Ian to deserve that, but it was quite painful to watch. But yeah, Ryan took it like a man.
Now, Chris, you had talked about a horror story for paintball. Does anybody else have any bad paintball experiences?
I haven't actually played it, which goes against what Joe said before of like, everyone's at least experienced it. I actually haven't. So this was my first experience with paintball, and I'm not the most athletic girl in the world. So it was a bit of a nightmare with me carrying a gun, wearing overalls that were like 10 sizes too big, tripping over, and with boobs hanging out, flying everywhere. So it was a bit, it was exhausting for me, but at least I didn't get hit. So
Sure.
I absolutely love the scene of you and Lockhart, Natasha, when you're looking for Jessica Bentley in the forest.
Oh yeah.
And it's just you're running through and you got the gun and you look like you just yeah, and it's just great. And I love that scene with you and Lockhart, and you say you're having a tantrum, and it's one of my favourite scenes just because you just like literally can't take it and just want to get done. Basically, you have a nail appointment. But yeah, I think for me with paintballing, I think the worst one was when it was my birthday. And at the end of the game, if you've got anything left over paintball, they said, okay, the birthday boy runs through a tunnel of everyone and they just shoot you. So by the end of it, I had quite a lot of bruises. But yeah, that was when I think it was my 18th or 19th birthday. So that was my worst experience with paintballing.
Sounds horrible.
I played Laser Quest,
Yeah.
softest version of it where you don't actually get hit by a projectile.
I'm with you. I like Laser Quest better.
Yeah.
I remember my father wanting to have a go. They opened up a paintballing place near Horsham where I grew up. And my father had been quite interested in this and saying, I thought you and your brothers and I could go along. And I said, Father, you are in your 70s. I really don't think you should be playing paintball.
No.
Yeah. It came from a lot of things, my dad.
I like the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm's there. That's good.
Yeah.
Missed it as a kid. Like, forget the bruises. I want to play. Right?
Yes.
No, please no. Nicholas, did you ever was there ever like a script where you were more involved in like the paintball, or was it always just behind the bar?
No, it was only, I think Chris, it was just,
Yeah, the bartender character sort of evolved really when Nicholas came on board. It was always like we always knew we wanted to kind of get someone special for that part, but it was a while before we knew who it was. So originally it was always quite a sort of chunky part for where it is in the script. It had a couple of big speeches, but I think it changed. There were so many different versions of it. There was a very sort of plotty version that was there was more about him complaining about school reunions, and then there was one. I think I tried one version where he was a bit more kind of crazy Ralph like. And there was a sort of suggestion that maybe I did try to draft where he was maybe more involved with the killer or in some way. I think I did one where there was a body hidden somewhere. Yeah. But I think once Nicholas came on, it was like, oh, okay, I need to do something really, really good for this. And I mean, I stole it, as I do with most things. I stole it from, I don't know if you've seen it, there's the Peter Bogdanovich film called Targets. Which it's one of my favorite films, and in that Boris Karloff does the Somerset Maugham story, and I thought it was like, I mean, Nicholas is like our equivalent of Boris Karloff. Essentially, he's this sort of a horror film actor who's coming in. So I was like, I'll steal that, but adapt it, obviously, so it's not too obvious. And sort of did that story, put in the stuff about the quarry and Stoke-on-Trent, where I'm from, and things like that. So that was how that part sort of evolved in the script.
We had like 4 different versions. We actually at one point was going to be very comical. We had at one point I was talking to Martin Clunes.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Because he lives quite nearby, but he had a very busy year, and thankfully we got someone, Nicholas, because the film for me, what I was struggling with when we were developing it was I didn't want it to be too much of just the backstory too early on. We needed some sort of horror to set the tone of the film, and Nicholas's speech to Nathan just sets it up for me. It sets the tone of the film. And then you obviously have the Jessica in the car park with the potential stranger who's looking over at her, and you start to think, okay, there's more to this film than what we're just seeing right now. So and Nicholas did a fantastic job. I love it at the end. He says, "And what do you want to drink?"
Yeah, I like that moment. It's kind of like, and we're back to reality. Yeah.
Crazy bartender. It's like, okay, now we're normal again.
Yeah. But it's great because he was called Somerset because somebody else was talking to Darren, the director, and he said that the character doesn't have a name. He's just the barman. I said, okay, well, we'll call him Somerset after Somerset Maugham. Is my little nod.
Yeah.
And it's filmed in Somerset. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Now, but Joe, behind you, is that the mask from the film?
It actually is. I thought I'd put it up.
Okay. Nice.
We had 2, but one's gone missing.
Oh no.
I have my feelings who took it, but yes. There it is.
Okay. The other one was stolen from the set, or?
I know. I think it was one of the cast members. I know who they are, and I think we all have our moments, don't we? But yeah, this one we are going to give out some giveaways soon with some signed props from the film. But unfortunately, this one will be staying with me just for a little memento. But yes,
Okay.
that is the killer. There we go.
Okay.
I was going to wear it for the whole interview, but then.
Ooh. You want to put it on for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Now the killer's with us.
Joe, did you play the killer in some of the sort of pictures?
Okay, no. This a little bit of another story, which I love it because no one's ever picked it up, and I'm glad because it just shows how good we cut things. There was a fantastic close friend of mine called Connor. Now, if anyone was on the set, like Natasha and Nicholas would know who Connor is.
Did he?
And Connor became a jack of all trades. He's never really had a lot of film background. He's one of my closest friends. And I said to him the week before filming, I said, I need a really, really good runner. Someone who would just get on with the job. I told you to do the job, go do it. And on the first day of set, he became the second AC. He became a kind of gaffer. And then throughout the shoot, every department was just using Connor. To the
my
point,
best friend as well. He became my best friend. he
was actually the driver, the taxi driver who drives Natasha and Lockhart back to the hotel. He also is the killer in a couple of scenes because Ian didn't join the set till a bit later, and due to the scheduling, we had to shoot a couple of scenes with the killer. So clever angle, Ola and Darren were able to shoot it, and I don't think you notice it because in the film there's a scene where you see Ian, and there's a scene with Connor, then Ian, then Connor, then Ian, and you just wouldn't know. So Connor does play the killer at times.
Were they similar sizes?
Completely not. Connor's more he's about the same height, but definitely not as wide, muscle bound at all. But since filming Paintball, Connor just thrown himself in the film world. He's worked on Bake Off. He's got a job at the Bottle Yard Studios in Bristol. And yeah, he just loved working on film, and from Paintball Massacre, he's made a career out of it now. So good on Connor.
Yeah.
Okay, good job, Connor. Now, staying on the topic of the killer, this might be spoilers, but we don't have to name any character names. But I was just curious what your guys' favorite death scenes were.
I always loved the estate agent's death.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because initially, I've said this in a few interviews recently, I obviously was meant to play the estate agent. Thank God I didn't, because it made me half my acting days. And Nathan just nailed that role. And it's comical. You've got to take it as a joke at the end, even though it's serious. It's funny.
Well,
and definitely Lockhart.
It's got humor.
Yeah. And you got obviously Sarah Ryan, Ethan's character with Lockhart, and they're looking at the side, and that line of "We don't look like an effing accident, does it?" You know, I think that's fun. I do love Tony's as well. Just not the death itself, but how he gets to the death. I like that bit.
For me, I like Ryan's death scene. So Matt, the character Matt, the coffin, because it just absolutely kills me. Like when he's sliding down to check that there's nothing in the coffin, and he's like, ah! Okay, and then he calms down, and then he's getting shot. And he's like, stop! Kills me. I mean, it's supposed to be, you know, and there's supposed to be an element of like scariness to it as well, but it just, the humor in it for me kills me.
That was a funny one because it was meant to, the coffin was meant to be chucked in, but if it went in like that, it would have been broken straight away. So we had to improvise, and we said, well, why don't we slide it in? And a careful framework, because there was about 3 of us in the hole trying to bring it down. And we're just like, slowly bring it down. And every cut was like, your head's in it, go down lower. But we got there. The lovely magic from filmmaking.
Okay.
I like I'm trying to spoil it. I think my already said, but the crucifixion, I like.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, I know there was really. I mean, I wasn't there, but I hear it was really difficult to film. But a few people have said, "Oh, is that character dead or not?" Because it's sort of unclear. But there's a line that sort of gets lost. It didn't get lost, it's there because it's so frantic and it's a really stressful moment. It's quite quick, but there's a line that Jess says where she says she sort of tries to help the character down. She says, "Oh, so they went for biblical accuracy then," and that basically means she's had the spear. She's been stabbed. Sort of, I don't know. I like that. I think that's the sort of. well, they're all quite nasty, but there's something really gruesome about sort of like going for an actual crucifixion to that.
That crucifix is still there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's concreted in. It's still in that quarry. So whoever goes in that place must go, what the hell is that?
What happened here? Is this for Christ was actually killed?
Sacrifices? I don't know.
It's the fact she's smoking a cigarette that gets me.
I know. Need the joint before.
So silly.
You're going to die, have a split.
And the Fast and the Furious line is pretty good in that scene too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Not anymore, bro.
It's so good.
Our composer, if you notice, he put that little Fast and Furious tone in the music when that line came out, and I just think that just hit that really well as well.
For Joe and Natasha, what was it like filming your guys' death scenes? Spoilers, but
I know. I realised when I gave my favourite death scene, I gave away a spoiler as well.
I'll put a spoiler warning for this.
What was that again?
Oh, I was just asking, what was it like filming your guys' death scenes?
Well, you don't actually see your character.
Yeah, you just see my aftermath.
Yeah.
True.
As filming other people's death scenes, I felt, as independent films go, we were on a tight schedule, and we only shot Monday to Friday. We had the weekends off, which in hindsight we think should have done Saturdays as well. But I think some of the death scenes were really enjoyable to film because we had a bit more time. But then some were a little bit rushed, like the for sale sign scene that was shot on the last day. So, and it was losing light. We had to do a lot of grade work on that to make it look very similar to the day
I think
shot.
most of them were shot on the last day, weren't they? Because when my body was discovered, that was on the last day. That was rushed. It was the last scene of the day, and I was laid in a bed of nettles for a while trying to get that shot.
Was it?
I was like, I'm just going to lie there and take it and get this shot so I can get up, put some bloody clothes on.
I remember the after party, and I said, "Have you enjoyed the film?" And you went, "I loved it. Even sitting in a bed of nettles today." I'm like, "Oh wow, okay."
Yeah, just
but as my death, I hated my day because I was blinded. The makeup made me blind, and a couple of the guys played tricks on me. You know,
yeah, good. I loved it.
and it wasn't the best day for me, but it looked great on camera, and I think that was a great little sacrifice to make it look good on camera.
Yeah, we like to tickle his ear, make him think an insect was on him.
I think I fell asleep at one point during the take. Someone was like, "Who's snoring?" It was Joe.
Yeah. My death scene was quite different to everyone else's though, because with my character, I mean, she's such a bitch right throughout it. But then you almost see like a character development, and you see the tone change within her personality. She feels remorse all of a sudden, and it's really intimate when she comes face to face with the killer. So I think out of everyone's death scenes, mine's like quite intense, really. So yeah, different.
When I speak to Ian, I remind that whole scene as Beauty and the Beast. I don't know why. I feel it's very romantic, and I feel like he's going to dance to you.
Well, yeah, with the hand gesture and things.
Yeah, I just always felt Beauty and the Beast. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of how it was, but I really love it. It was you know, again, it's a very intense scene. You know, some deaths are more comical. Some are meant to be more serious, and that was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely not the Disney version, though. But you got the pose down for sure. I was about to do it, but I was like, no.
Yeah.
Was the face peel? Was that itchy?
God, it was a bit of a nightmare actually to get the whole makeup done because, again, as Joe said, running time was tight. So we had to mad rush that. No lunch for me. I just laid there, and because the girls rushed a bit, they did an amazing job. But I ended up getting it like stuck in my hair, my eyebrows. By the end of it, when they took it off, I had no eyebrows, no eyelashes. But you know, it's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then laid in a bed of nettles straight after. So you know, perks of the job.
Yeah, big shout out to Lisa and her team. I think Lisa and Laura and I think someone else, maybe Claire, helped in that one. But that was they did an amazing job. I think they did it in an hour, probably an hour. I think
it was definitely
more.
more than that. It felt like
2 hours. I don't know. So long ago.
I feel like you lose sense of time in a makeup chair.
Oh yeah, totally.
She was lucky because the director Darren wanted the whole body. He wanted to go full Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And I was like, we haven't got the time or the budget to do that. I'm sorry. Let's compromise to the face. And the idea of, obviously they get killed the way they work. The whole glamour model is take away what is the most important thing to that person. That obviously is the face for
And the chest.
fashion. Obviously the chest. We can't cut off the boobs. That's just harsh.
Sure. Now, you said Hellraiser. That's a great transition when we're on the topic of Hellraiser and makeup. What was it like for you, Nicholas, wearing that Chatterer makeup all the way back when, in '89?
Oh, I so much prefer it when I get to have lines and speak. I mean, it's tough. I mean, you know, something that we were talking about the background for my Chattering show, and I've just been doing before I came on this evening, I was chatting with the producer of my show, and we were looking at the 13 shows we've just done, talking to people, being in places like Halloween and so on. And I suddenly realized, you know, for years I've been talking about the Hellraiser makeups and how they were difficult because I could hardly speak, hardly see, and could hardly hear. But then I talked to people like Chris Sarandon and Fright Night and so on. And it's just like, yeah, just shut up, Nick. You had it really easy in comparison to some people. And Kathleen Kinmont on Bride of Reanimator. Yeah, I had it an awful lot easier than many people. So it was tough, for those aspects. But I think it's like, you know, listening to the guys talking about Paintball Massacre, you know, what you tend to remember is the fun that you had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really my memory of Hellraiser, is that they were long hours, it was extremely tough, and, you know, and trying to act when you can literally hardly move. But what I mostly remember is the fact that we spent a lot of time laughing on the set.
Well, that's the same with paintball. We were getting there, 6:30, 7 o'clock, pitch black in a quarry, freezing cold. We turned our car lights on.
Nothing. You wimps!
I'm complaining.
3, 4 o'clock in the morning to get in.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, no sympathy for that.
Oh, Nicholas, were you laid in a bed of nettles? That is the question.
Right, of course, now I'm immediately trying to think back. Have I had similar experiences? And no, thank God. That sounds really uncomfortable.
I like how she didn't tell no one. You couldn't say you just went and did it like a pro.
It's going on our IMDb page.
Quiz. Trivia.
Yeah.
Now maybe an ASMR warning, but could you do some chattering for us, Nicholas?
You know, I can't. I no longer, because my teeth are so sensitive now. I mean, it was me really doing, well, they were plastic teeth attached to my teeth. And I remember, literally, I used to practice in the bathroom mirror. It's like, I had one job to do in that film. Stand there.
Nailed it.
Shove my fingers in Ashley's mouth. Those are the only things I actually had to do on that film. But I literally did, but no, teeth are too sensitive. I grind them down anyway. So yeah, sorry. No,
don't worry.
But I do. I was immediately looking forward to my show. I can do one better.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can actually do one better for you. Carry on. Ask me another question whilst I get this set up.
I noticed with your filmography that you had the Hellraiser roles, and then you really kind of resurrected your career in the 2010s. What's that been like?
coming back to it after, you know, like a 20-year gap.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting because I'm lucky because I've got to work with all these independent filmmakers like these guys. I've been very lucky. I've been working with Dark Rift Films on Book of Monsters. I've done 2 films with Hex Media up in Scotland. I'm going to forget somebody. I know I'm going to forget somebody. Anyone I've forgotten, apologies to. So yeah, it's really been very interesting because, of course, there've been very different films and filmmakers and so on. And you know, Katie Barnum, wonderful director, did a short film with her as well. So I've been really enjoying myself. I mean, it's different, obviously very different from what we were doing back then, different scale of things and so on. But yeah, I've been enjoying myself. Sorry, so you asked me to chatter my teeth.
Beautifully done.
I have props.
Everyone, that was really Nicholas, not a toy.
Yes, this is podcast. I forget this is podcast.
He's been working on that for the past, 30 years? And he's
Yeah,
perfected
absolutely.
Okay, I have one more Hellraiser one, if that's okay. And then I'll probably finish with the Paintball Massacre one. I assume you've done like comic cons and horror cons. Has there been any really cool, memorable experiences with that?
I think it's been so difficult because obviously I've not been doing them in the last year because of everything that's been going on. You really miss them. I mean, what's not to love? I get to go to different countries and different cities, and I get to meet a whole load of people who are fans of my work in Hellraiser and Nightbreed, and so I'm very grateful, apart from anything else, that I get to do these things. I was mentioning Book of Monsters, which came out a couple of years ago now, and it was just like, I remember signing my first DVD cover of Book of Monsters, and it's just like, wow, that's really cool. I've not done, because normally obviously I sign Hellraiser stuff, I sign Nightbreed stuff, so that was very, very cool. And I think they're great experiences because not only do you get to meet people who are really enthusiastic about your work, but you also get to I get to hang out with all my Cenobite mates. That's always fun. Barbie Wilde, Doug Bradley, and Simon Bamford. Occasionally with Ashley Lawrence. It's rare in this business that you get to maintain friendships over more than 30 years now. So yeah, I miss them. I miss them lots. I'm looking forward to hopefully doing some more once everyone's vaccinated and things are a little bit more calm.
Yeah, maybe when the Comic-Cons come up again, you'll be able to sign a couple Paintball Massacre Blu-rays too.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
That's the plan. I've got, I'd like to get us a couple panels at the comic events, and obviously, hopefully, with the release in the UK next year, and hopefully COVID and vaccines and all that disappear, we'll be able to make some events and have a little bit of our own paintball reunion properly and sign some DVDs. That'd be great.
Nice.
Okay.
That'd be great.
You mentioned reunion. I was curious if you guys had any horror stories about high school reunions, or maybe good stories too. I don't know.
Well, I had the reunion scene in the film was sort of, I had not a school one, but a university reunion. It was because someone was getting married. It wasn't necessarily an anniversary, but we kind of had this reunion. But what struck me about it that I kind of used in the film, and it wasn't an unpleasant experience. It was great, but it was how quickly, everyone, we were probably in a kind of mid to late 20s when we had this reunion, so we hadn't seen each other for about 5 or 6 years. And everyone's gone off and done different things. But as soon as everyone's we're back in this pub, and you just revert back to how everyone goes back to exactly how they were when they were together at university, and so all this sort of stupid jokes come out and the same nicknames and all the same. It's like you've never left, even though everyone looks a bit older. So yeah, I definitely tried to bring that into the film.
Okay.
I hated school. Absolutely hated it. I was bullied badly. I'm quite open to that. I hated every minute of it. There was a talk at one point of a reunion for my secondary school, which I was like, I don't really want to go. And it never happened in the end. So I think reunions are still very American. I think that's a big thing over there. You know, you have those reunions, and it's slowly coming to the UK. You know, we've caught on with the proms. You have primary school proms in England now, like people leaving their first school with proms. And we're still catching on the reunions, but we know people are doing it more for, like Chris said, the universities and colleges. I think it's more the thing because people like to get pissed up and
people actually like each other there.
Sure. Okay, I forgot that it was more of a North American thing. That's true. Okay. Also, Joe, was it fun getting into the Aiden personality? Because he's kind of like antagonistic, a little cocky, very cocky. Yeah. Was that fun getting into it?
Yeah, I prefer to play a role that's like completely opposite to me. I don't think I'm like that. I am quite loud. I'm quite loud and flamboyant in real life, but I wouldn't put myself as a cocky, arrogant, know-it-all, like that kind of bully kind of character. But I fell into it quite easily. I don't know if that's good or not. I know Chris wrote that character a lot more in your face, and
it was quite extreme. Yeah.
I didn't want to go that far because I felt I didn't want people to feel it was too pushed and too forced. So I really enjoyed it. It was great fun playing it. Aiden. I like the moment where me and Brendan Carr's character Dan square up to each other, and the whole, paintball is my thing. I love paintballing, and you're not going to mess up this day for me. How dare you? And I really treat it as proper. Like I think it is as bad as the Afghan war, and the others are like, it's just a joke. Just lighten up a bit. But for me, it's all my life. So I suppose I take that from my passion, martial arts. So, I take martial arts very seriously. So I just thought, well, just think that as the paintballing. So that's what I did. And I loved it. I loved the character. And I still love the line from Tony Bannon's character, Rob, where it's an ad-lib line where he says fat turtle. I've been called fat turtle about 3 times in the last 2 days.
A fat turtle?
Yeah, if you watch in the scene where I switched teams, just when I walk back, Tony Bannon's character Rob shouts out "fat turtle."
He ad-libbed that though, because when you had your big bulky costume on, it was when you were sat there with your makeup on when you were found, and you were just sat there. Obviously, you can't see anything, and we all saw you from afar. You just looked like a little
my suit.
Okay, kind of does look like Franklin. Okay.
I will admit it. I do look like a turtle in it, and I like Ninja Turtles.
Okay. I think you do find a good balance with the character though, and I kind of like the line where he's just so cocky that he's like, when he's talking about not getting hit in Afghanistan, he's like, "You got hit. That's the difference."
Yeah, it's like that's paint. I'm talking about paintball, and he got a real hit. It's a real cool. I think what Chris did, which I think is amazing as a writer, he made it an ensemble film. Every character had their moment. Obviously Jessica Bentley, Cheryl's character, leads the way through the story, and she progresses in the story. But everyone has their moment, and my moment was that whole arrogant moment of squaring up to Dan and saying you got hit. Natasha's was when she was having a go at Dan. Aoife, obviously the Fast and Furious, Sarah Ryan, and everyone, Tony Lockhart when he was having his tantrum. And yeah, everyone just has their moment. And that was just down to Chris.
I think it was really important for me that the people cared about the characters. Like, they didn't have to like them, but that they were just invested in them, and that they felt like real people, and they felt like you could go to a bar and hang out with these people. And so I think it was about that. It was like making sure everyone had room, because it really bugs me in slasher films, particularly when you have these characters who are just throwaway, because it's like, well, they're going to die soon, so we'll just give them a few stupid lines and they're irritating, and they're going to die in the next scene. Whereas I thought, well, if we balance that out, I mean, it's more interesting anyway if the characters are interesting, but also then you won't know who's going to die or not, because they've all got kind of equal screen time, and they're all kind of in it. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's true, because I mean, I like the dynamics enough that, like, you know, Joe was a dick, right? But sorry, Aiden.
No, I was.
You're a good guy. No, I mean the character name. My bad. Okay. No, yeah.
I think I was a good producer on set. There were some times when you're kind of quite a bit high and heated, but
yeah, no, but like, just when he died, I was like, oh, okay. So now we won't get any more of that. So yeah, I see what you mean. Right.
I think even with Aiden, like, there's the bit where Tony's character Rob talks about him, and you realise that he did actually like him, like he wasn't. And I even writing Aiden, it was like, well, he's this way for a reason. Like with Natasha's character Lauren, like she's like this for a reason. It's not just she's an irritating character, and when she has that monologue at the end, it's sort of, it's all comes from somewhere, and that's with all the characters. It's not just, oh, they're this way because of reasons. There's an actual reason, a character reason for them being how they are.
Okay. There's a hidden message in Paintball Massacre with two things. It's firstly mental health, because obviously you've got Nathan, played by Lee, who plays a fantastic role and his character arc is he's suicidal. And that's a leader, and he wants to survive the film. And, you know, that line of him where he says to Natasha after the kiss, you know, this has been a good day. I don't know, it sounds weird. My mates have died, but it's a good day. It's because he's actually found people that care for him.
Got purpose now.
And the same it goes with the bullying. You know, bullying is such a horrible thing that happens all around the world, you know, in schools. And there's a reason why people bully. You know, there's people, sometimes the bully is a person getting bullied at home. And there's other thing, and there's always a reason why they're like that. It's not, they weren't born like that. It's because of something they've had happen to them. And that, it's a horror, it's a slasher film, but there is also messages in there that we need to also talk about. Definitely with the COVID right now, everyone's mental health has gone like skyrocketed, you know, to be stuck indoors and not being able to socialize. So yeah, there is a few messages in there that we highlight a little bit. So that's, it's cool to have them in there.
Yeah, that's a nice sentiment, like finding belonging in college or whatever. Yeah. Now I have one last one that's ambiguous, like with the ambiguous. I can't talk. Sorry. The ambiguous ending.
What is it over there, by the way? What time is it over there?
It's 4:01 p.m.
Oh, so it's not too early, not too late. Oh.
No, 9 for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
So.
yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
gonna wrap up soon. Yeah. So I don't know if you want me to ask if you want to address the ambiguous ending with, like, because it's pretty sure it's Carl, but it could not be. But
I think Chris, you take this one for a second.
Sure. I mean, it's one of those things that I knew would irritate some people. But I'm a massive fan of The Thing, so if you love the ending of The Thing, then you will get along with it. But I thought for me, one of the inspirations for this was the Agatha Christie book, And Then There Were None, which is a similar sort of. I mean, it's sort of the prototype for the slasher movie. It's you know, a bunch of characters go to an island and they are killed off one by one. And I kind of reread it for this. When I got to the end, there's a chapter in that book where everyone is dead, and the whole thing is they're trying to figure out who's done it. And in the book, it sort of ends, everyone's dead. And I kind of put the book down. I thought, that's the coolest thing I've ever read. That's amazing. And then there's another chapter where it explains everything that's happened, and you find out. I'm not going to spoil this really old book, but you find out who killed all the people. And I just thought, like, for me, and I understand this is an individual thing, but for me that just ruined it. I was like, oh no, I didn't want to know. I liked it when I didn't know who'd killed all the people. So, because I think the thing is, even though we sort of want the satisfaction of being like, okay, it's this person, I think really it's much more interesting. There's no discussion then. You're like, okay, that happened, and you leave. Well, I guess you don't leave the cinema. You turn the DVD off and you go, right, that's done. But if there's a question mark there, then there's something to turn to the people you're watching it with and go, okay, who do you, exactly how you've done, who do you think it is? Who do you think did it? And there are two sort of possibilities in the film. And like, I do have an idea of who it is, but I don't even think that matters. Like, I don't think there's the definitive answer. I think it's up for grabs.
Okay. Like, it's like Nolan does it a lot, doesn't he? Like, you know, with Inception. Yeah, like it's great because then you leave the audience to use their mind rather than being told what it is. So yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah, we got an idea of a trilogy, and the ending was, you know, the ending is there for us to potentially follow up. So let's see how, you know, if everyone loves this film, let's make a sequel. But I was pushed by Chris to do the mask shot that we nicked from Strangers. Was it Strangers?
Sure.
Yeah, I love that film. I love the last shot with the masks where they take the masks off. I mean, I'm spoiling the end of Strangers now. But the fact that just the way that's cut, where it looks like you're going to find out and then you don't, because it doesn't matter. Like in that.
Yeah.
Such a it's quite funny we got Nicholas here because I've been asked, told by a few people, it's the bartender.
Oh, that's a good one, actually.
Me as well.
I remember we had this conversation in the car when you were taking me back from my train at the end of the filming, and we were discussing whether or not it could actually, you know, and why it would be the bartender, and just what was, you know, and just what is to be the bartender.
It'd be great. We'll superimpose your face on Ian, just for, you know.
I was literally about to say, I think the most interesting idea to me would be that it's the bartender because they're not letting the past be the past, or they didn't pay their bar bill.
It could be a third person. There is a third person.
Chris, I have to admit, I did liken him being the character at the beginning of the Scooby-Doo movie.
Oh yeah.
It's just say, don't go into that house.
Oh yeah. Well, but the thing is that there is a character like that in And Then There Went On in the Agatha Christie book. Before they go to the island, there is an old man at the beginning who says, "Don't go to the island." And so that's part of sort of literary history. You have to have the heralds.
That archetype is called the harbinger, right? Like in Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, in Cabin in the Woods. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the harbinger. Yeah, in Cabin in the Woods. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Also, there is a payoff in a certain way. Is the fact Cheryl's character Jess knows that killer. That's a payoff to me because she knows who that is. She waves that person, and that killer tells her, and she is left to survive. Yeah. That then opens up loads of discussion because obviously there's two people it could be, but there could be a third. But why are they letting her survive? I'm not going to say nothing, but there is a payoff. I know it's not the best payoff because I know people are going to hate it. Some people are like, "What? No!" But there is, to me, that is the payoff because you're then going, "Wait a minute," and then you start to think, why is this character going to finding these death? You know, the friends are dead after they're dead. You know, why didn't she get out and help one of them? Why didn't she do certain things? And I'm not gonna go any further because I'm gonna probably ruin a sequel, maybe. But I think there is a payoff slightly there.
Okay. And I feel like that's more evidence that could be the barman because she's an alcoholic and she's like on her road to rehab, right? It's like, oh, you don't drink, you're good. But no, I'm curious. So hopefully we'll find out in the sequel then.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fingers crossed.
Now, this isn't released in the UK yet? It's only in North America right now?
It's in the US and Canada, so it came out on the 15th. We've got a date, hopefully early next year for the UK. COVID just kicked us in the teeth, to be honest. You know, ideally it's a British film, we would love to be in Britain first, but due to obviously in the UK, we had a lot of people furloughed. I don't know if that's kind of what happened in America, but a lot of people were not allowed to work for their company, but they were getting 80% of their wages from the government. So when I was ringing up these sales guys, distributors, they were like, well, I like it, but I can't do nothing for you at the moment. Or other companies were just like, we're not taking anything because we don't really know what the market's like. So it was a tough ask. But when, you know, we got a fantastic distributor in Uncorked, and they've done an amazing job for the US and Canada. And in a way, it's quite nice to hear the American and the Canadians' response to a film that's a British humour, because sometimes our humour doesn't come off so well over the pond sometimes. So I'm glad. I like reading reviews, even the bad ones. Some of them I'm like, oh, interesting, you know, because no one's going to, it's like Marmite. I don't know if you got Marmite in America or Canada, but
I thought that was just Australia.
yeah, you like it or hate it, and that's our film.
It's a different thing.
You're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm proud of what we've created. You know, and I think it's a film that people will talk about, regardless if they like it or not. They're gonna go, "What was that paintball film? You know, that with that bitch of a woman, and then that bartender, and and that stoner who loved Fast and Furious. You know, and that ending. What about that blooming ending? You know, I'm gonna talk about it."
Yeah, I mean, well, with your comparison, I think all North Americans hate Marmite, so hopefully that's not Paintball Massacre. So Chris Regan, writer. I'm gonna go in like the order, so that's easiest for me. Chris Regan, the writer for Paintball Massacre. Nicholas Vince, Somerset, the barman. I was gonna say barbarian. Somerset, the barbarian for Paintball Massacre. Joe Hallett, producer, and Aiden in Paintball Massacre, and Natasha Killip as Lauren Rice, I think, the character in Paintball Massacre. Thank you guys for joining me on the Film Craziest Show.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.